Howdy chaps, and welcome back to a workshop update. And if you're wondering where the fruit biscuit I have been, watch this clip. So if you just watched that clip, you would have just worked out that the tank is in fact running. And some of those people who work out how to watch a YouTube short, and it was the first one I've ever been able to do, actually got to see the little snippet of the tank moving under its own power for the first time. Now these are the tillers, the steering sticks, the steering wheel you might as well call it, but they're the tillers. I have, since that video, I've taken them out, and I had new old stock grips, and they are 70 years old. I think they were packed in 1953. So I've got new old stock grips on the tillers, pulled apart, all cleaned up and looking lovely. That's on the tank, by the way. That's your handbrake too, so if you twist that, it drops down and locks into a ratcheting mechanism which allows you to put the brakes on the tank basically and hold them on. So that's a nice little bit. So I'm working on some of the details of the tank, and I'll show you some more in a minute. So we've been fairly busy, and well, I've been fairly busy. I'm always busy. So you might notice there's one less car. The Landau is gone. Last few repairs of that's gone, and to be perfectly honest, I'm ecstatic because the stress levels have plummeted. Now I'm down to two long-term cars, this one and the other coupe, and I'm so happy about that. I realised when I started the business that, you know, you just take everything on because you're too paranoid, but then you realise after you've got 7 cars in the go that you're only one person and you can't do that many cars in a reasonable time frame. So for the last 2 years I've been trying to get rid of all the cars that we've been taking on, and down to 2 for one bloke is fairly manageable. And hell, I've still got my own 3 projects there, 1, 2, 3, and they're still progressing too. So with this coupe, this is a freshie. It's got lots of, the owner is a local, and he runs the car parts store down the road. This is his car, and he's just done a massive order with Howard Astle. Still the best place to get. It's convenient because he has everything. I mean, you can go to all the suppliers, but if you want to just get everything in one go, Howard Astle is the way to go. And so we've got some of these. Oops. The new boot corners looking lovely in one big piece, so that's going to make life 10 times easier. Got boot corners, and this car has had a little boo-boo in the front, so we got another front cut. Actually, this funny story is I used to own this car when it was a whole car, and then I traded it to the wrecking yard for an XF panel van, of all things. Yes, you heard it right. And I traded an XB Falcon in running condition for an XF panel van that was in the yard. It was a different time. Anyway, we had some of that actually went into my brother's Landau, and then this car, we got the front for this car because it's all smushed. What else have we got going? It's a XA Falcon in walnut glow with rust. So some of those. That's the new rad support with a new V8 section I fitted prior to taking the whole lot off. So got to take off the rest of this. Somewhere there's the engine bay pedals too to replace that. It's all munted. Progressing along. Right, all going well. I will be doing a video on this very, very shortly. It's all braced up, ready to go. All the parts are here for the sill panel. She's all ready to rock and roll. Don't panic, guys. I have some doors lined up, but they're in the middle of country New South Wales, and one, I don't have the money for them, and two, I don't know how to get them here. And to the tank, the tinky tank. Obviously it's a bit of a mess in there at the moment. This tail shaft made by Hardy Spices, which I believe was the only mob left really who actually do tail shafts. Got the brakes in there in. Ended up going with this stuff for the gearbox. Everybody told me, oh, use 50 weight oil, and then I was looking at the gearbox, and cast into one of the arms was like, it said between 10 and 25 weight. I was like, guys, you might be slightly wrong, and that stuff is designed for wet brakes. So up here I was making the smoke discharger bracket. It was a bit of a guesstimate. I've only working off a photo, but it looks pretty good, and it's in the right spot. And working on the details now, coming back through and welding up all of these button head bolts and to make them look like rivets. And one of the bonuses is, because every rivet is different anyway, by the time you've done them all, they all look different. They all look pretty good. Step through. My Chinese lathe died and I had to get another one. Surprise, surprise. Everything in here. I ended up putting an alternator in. Smartest thing I ever did. We did have a slight issue with this with the float in the carburetor actually ended up sinking, and it flooded the snot out of the motor. I nearly hydrolocked it actually, unfortunately, because when you're in the front you can't tell anything going on the back. But luckily I didn't. But yeah, that was a disaster I'd rather not talk about. But I do need to try and get myself another one of those Strombergs in there. But all the fuel lines are in. I've already burnt out one of those Chinese fuel pumps. Got another one in there, and I've got another one on the shelf just in case. But it's all it's a driving tank now, so that's something. Well, when I put the sticks back in, it will be. Oh, there's the panel. Look at that, beautiful. Obviously, I've got to put some rust stuff on here to get rid of this. Also, that rust blast powder works amazing, but one person suggested on YouTube to use citric acid, like powder form, when you put it in a big bucket, and wow, that stuff works well. Unbelievable. I have to say that worked a treat. Yes, that was solid rust, that gear, and that was 2 days in citric acid. Come out like that. Obviously, give it a scotchy, but pretty damn good. So the tank's drivable. It starts, it runs, it stops, and a 15-minute run costs you 5 litres of fuel of it pretty much idling. So it's going to be a fairly thirsty toy. So now I'm just going back and doing the details. I've got a hatch to make, some bits of armour, I've got to make the rear doors, got to make the hinges. I'm starting to do all I've done the hardest bit. The hardest bit is getting it running. Now it's down to getting it looking like a tank properly. But that's really cool. I was quite happy with that. I've got to make some brackets to go across there to hold up the hatch. But yeah, we're all getting there. So this is next on my agenda. I've done the brace side to side, I've done between the doors and down to the floor. And when I do that, I'm going to be doing a big cut. I'm going to take the sill panel off, the inner sill panel off, and the corner of the torque box as well. This is getting a big chop. But it is gonna be good. And then once that's done, I can then work on the quarter panel, work on the pillar, and work my way up. And then we'll do this whole side first. Well, actually, probably we'll have to do that, and then we'll have to do the other side, and then do the roof. But it's all time. I know this is something that people are dying for, so I thought I'd let you know that it is coming. It is coming. You don't have to keep pestering me. I'm getting there. I've got work to do, which everybody loved to see me do videos on it, but you have no idea how much longer it takes me. Like, if you want to make a task take longer than it needs to, film it. Just try it once and you understand. So I've sort of moved into doing almost update videos, but I am going to try and do a sort of video through that process, but it might be a couple of parts. But I mean, if you wanted to see me do a Silverpanel XW, just go back through the videos. There is already one up there. So this is work, that's work, and toy. So see you around, chaps.